She was dead. He knew it. Everyone told him. His therapist, his memories, the empty apartment, the years of silence. Then a letter arrived. Her handwriting, her words, asking him to come and save her. So he drove into ash, into monsters, into every version of guilt a man can carry. James is driving recklessly when a truck pulls out in front of him. He swerves to avoid it but knocks over a girl's luggage in the process. He stops immediately to help. Her bus arrives and she knows she will not make it, and it leaves without her. James feels terrible and asks where she was headed. She shows him a place on a map, Silent Hill, and tells him about a beautiful hotel called Lakeview she was going to visit. He offers to drive her there. She introduces herself as Mary. As they load her bags, a strange dark cloud fills the sky. Mary says it is a Silent Hill summer storm and that it only comes when someone is visiting the town. James then wakes up drunk inside a bar. The waiter tells him he needs to leave. He refuses and ends up in a fight before the bouncer throws him out. His psychologist calls because he has missed their appointment. She warns him he cannot fall out of his routine and asks him to come in the next day. Back at his empty apartment, memories of his past weigh on him. Then he spots a letter addressed to him. He opens it. It is from Mary, asking him to come to Silent Hill and save her. He runs to the entrance immediately, but there is no one there. He gets in his car and drives towards Silent Hill, only to find the road blocked due to safety concerns. He pulls over near where he first met Mary. Memories flood back. How they met, how they fell in love. He sleeps in the car and wakes the next morning. He walks to a nearby washroom, sees his own haggard face in the mirror, rereads the letter, and works out where she might be. He heads into the dense forest on foot. Along the way, he meets a disheveled woman who asks him to carry a sack for her. He agrees and asks why Silent Hill is in ruins. She tells him there was a fire in the woods and the ash has poisoned everything. James says he is looking for someone. The woman stops him and says he will not find her, that the water is contaminated and no one is left. James says he will take his chances anyway. She tells him her name is Angela and that if he cannot find who he is looking for, he can come back to her. He eventually reaches Silent Hill. The city is devastated. Abandoned buildings, ash-covered streets, complete silence. He shouts, but gets no reply. He walks into a tunnel and finds someone sleeping on the pavement. He approaches slowly until static bursts from a radio and the man grabs him, warning that they are coming. James gets out fast. His psychologist calls. He tells her he is in Silent Hill and that something terrible happened there and Mary needs him. She tells him he is spiraling and must come back. He cuts the call short and walks toward a nightclub he recognizes. A homeless man crawls from the tunnel behind him, but a horrifying creature called the Hamless emerges and attacks the man. James runs and finds the man melting. The radio in the dead man's hand crackles with static again. The Hamless turns toward James and spits acid, but he deflects it with a metal rod, forcing the creature into a hidden tunnel. An emergency broadcast on the radio urges all residents to evacuate Silent Hill immediately. More creatures begin to appear. The environment shifts in an instant. Day becomes night. James runs, trips, falls. Spider-like creatures swarm out of the sewers by the hundreds. He breaks through a fence, gets inside an apartment, and shuts the door behind him. Inside, he realizes this is the apartment he and Mary once shared. He walks through the rooms, each one barely recognizable. He finds a collection of DVDs, each labeled with a different date. Static noise begins playing, and his mind starts to fracture. He calls his psychologist and tells her he cannot take it anymore, that Mary is close. The call drops. He climbs to the floor above from the balcony and finds a mannequin draped in one of Mary's dresses, covered in moths. He moves further in and finds a shelf of souvenirs he recognizes. A memory surfaces. He came home one day to find Mary with a group of friends performing some kind of ritual. When they saw him, they stopped and left without a word. Mary defended them, calling them her family since they had looked after her father's death. He also finds a prescription showing Mary was admitted to Brookhaven Hospital. A coughing sound comes from outside. He follows it and finds a man named Eddie, violently ill, showing James his own rotting arm. Eddie asks why James is not infected like everyone else. James has no answer. He tells Eddie he is heading to the hospital to find someone. Eddie laughs bitterly and says no one is alive in this city. The outbreak was total. Before James can respond, a child's voice echoes from somewhere nearby. Both men follow it and find a girl hiding in a corner. Her name is Laura. James tells her it is not safe for her to stay there alone and asks her to come with him. A low growl rumbles from from inside the building. Eddie insists they leave immediately. James refuses to leave without Laura. A monster approaches. Laura retreats back inside. Eddie kicks James and bolts, leaving him alone as Pyramid Head, one of the most feared creatures of Silent Hill, rounds the corner. James barely escapes. Moments later, he comes across a body that looks like Mary's, until it transforms into the spider-like creatures. He hides in another room and watches through a crack as the creature enters. Then Pyramid Head appears and tears it apart. Pyramid Head then spots James. The city siren wails and both James and Pyramid Head drop in agony. James passes out. He wakes later and finds Angela lying alone nearby. She repeats her warning. Mary is not alive and James needs to leave before he makes things worse. When he goes outside, he finds Laura sitting there. She shows him a teddy bear, saying Mary gave it to her, then runs. He follows her into a maze and loses her. A woman appears who looks exactly like Mary. She introduces herself as Maria and proposes they leave together. James refuses and tells her he is going to the hospital. She reluctantly agrees to go with him. At the hospital, James searches through files while Maria tells him about Joshua, a man who ran a cult in Silent Hill. Even after his death, his followers worshipped him like a god. Maria has worked out that Mary is his daughter. A memory returns to James. He once followed Mary to a gathering. He heard chanting and realized she was being sacrificed by the group. He screamed, but no one heard him. Her soul was taken. Back in the present, the siren goes off again. The rooms transform. They find a corridor of frozen nurses. The nurses begin to move. James and Maria run. They reach a broken elevator. James fights the nurses, but one stabs Maria. The elevator kicks into life, and they make it inside. James tends to her wound. Maria tells him she knows she looks like Mary, and that is why he stays. He tells her he needs to find Mary. She tells him that if he still cannot find her, they should leave together and start fresh. He meets Laura again and asks about Mary. Instead, she shows him the teddy bear, which has become a deformed creature. She tells him all of this happened because he left Mary alone. She locks him in a room, and a flying bed nearly hits him. A strange creature reaches a hand into his mouth, and James collapses. He wakes in a normal hospital. A nurse tells him he was found unconscious on the road. His psychologist appears and tells him Mary is dead and that it happened right in front of him. He needs to accept it and move on. A memory surfaces. The last day of his relationship. Mary had come back and he confronted her, told her he had followed her and seen everything. He asked how long the cult involvement had been going on. She said since childhood. He said they needed to leave. She said she could not go. He could feel his disgust toward her, and she could feel it too. She told him she had been planning to leave Silent Hill the day they met, but he made her stay. He promised he would never leave her, then he left anyway. Back in the present, his psychologist says James is suffering from severe PTSD after losing Mary. A few days later, moths appear outside his window, and he is transported back to Silent Hill. Maria is there and says it is time to leave as promised. She kisses him. He pulls away and walks. He tells her she is only his imagination and needs to go. The siren sounds and Pyramid Head appears, driving a blade through Maria. James collapses. He wakes in front of the burning hospital. He goes inside and finds Laura. She asks if he is ready. He says yes. She asks him to remember Mary. A flashback reveals the gravestone. Mary's full name, Mary Angela Laura Crane, tells him that all the women he has encountered are versions of her. He runs to find Angela. She says he will never let her go. A hand drags her downward and James goes with her. He sees a creature attacking her, reaches out and apologizes for leaving her. She bursts into flame and her soul is freed. He sees Mary running and follows her to the rooftop where a body lies covered. His memory returns. He visited Mary in hospital on her deathbed. She told him her father had been poisoning her since childhood. She asked him to end her suffering. He refused. She begged him to set her free. He loved her enough to do it. Her soul rises from the bed, takes form, and embraces him. He regrets not staying. Moths surround them. He finds her body and her soul is finally at peace. He carries her to his car, drives to a cliff, and drives into the water. He takes her hand and says he will not let go this time. He wakes up at the very beginning again. Mary is there. He helps her pick up her things. She is about to board the bus, but he deliberately drops her bag, making her miss it. He offers to drive her. She introduces herself. He already knows her name and she is stunned. She gets in the car. This time they drive away from Silent Hill, away from the cult, the creatures, and the grief, and head back to the city together. This time they leave for good.